today we're doing BobART. We're going to go through vectorize, we're going to go through emboss for a 3D model. BobART also includes vcarve, so we'll go through that. And when we do an emboss, we'll also do a 3-axis milling job on it, just as if we would do a 3-axis milling job on any other part file that we create or import into BobCAD. So again, in the comment section, let me know if you guys have any questions as we go through it, but we're going to go through. I'm going to start right from scratch, as I mentioned earlier. We're going to go into BobART and we're going to create a vectorization first. So if you guys want to follow along with me, I'm actually going to open up Google right here and let's Google. What I normally do is eagle, so I'm going to type in eagle. And I usually type in clip art after anything I'm searching here in Google for an image for BobART. And I usually do that because when I go to images here, I can normally find a good black and white image. So I typed in eagle clip art up at the top of Google. It asks me, do I want, let's see, like a silhouette? I think silhouette would be good. That looks cool. So up at the top, if you see this one, let's see if this one will allow me to save as an image here. So I'm going to right click on this one over here and go to save image as, and it will save as a JPEG. And I'm going to name it Eagle Webinar. And I'm saving it in my downloads. Saving this one right over here, sort of hidden behind me there, but yeah, it's got a lot of black and white and a lot of vectorization in between, not just the profile, but inside of the eagle there as well. So I'm going to minimize Google here. I'm actually going to move it to my other monitor just to make sure everything's looking good in Vimeo as well. So I have BobCAD open. I'm going to go to the bottom left page here where I have the tab labeled BobART. Normally it's down at the bottom left corner. It might be over here on the right-hand side. If you don't see it opened up, you can right-click up at the top here of BobCAD, and you should be able to open BobART there. So we've got the BobART tab over on the left-hand side. I can right-click on Images, the second option down. The first option is BobART Manager. So when I right-click on this one, I normally show this as well. Right-click on BobART Manager, and you can select Load Vector Files, the third one down. This is how you can open up a PDF. So you can see the different vector file formats are EPS, AI for Adobe Illustrator, and PDF. So if it's a vector file, you can open it that way. This is a JPEG. This is an image. So I want to go to Images, which is the option down below that, right under BobART Manager. I right-click on Images, and I go to Load Image. Then it's searching for JPEG files by default. If it's not a JPEG for you, if you want to search for PNG files or any file format, if I don't know, if I can't remember what it is, I normally go down to the bottom and search for all files. And I see Eagle Webinar right here. If the image that you find online, if I bring it back over here, sometimes when I try to save it, it'll save as a weird file. Like sometimes it'll try to save as a web page file. That's not an image format there. So if you do have difficulty with it, and you're, maybe you're really loving this image or one of the others over here, this one has a watermark behind it, so that would be difficult. But if you go, maybe your heart's set on this image, for example, you can go down to the bottom of Microsoft, click on the Start page, and you can type in Snipping Tool. You can open Snipping Tool, and you can click on New right here, and it will allow you to create a screenshot right here to be able to save as an image. So you got to work around there if your heart's set on a certain image that you find in Google, just to let you know that. So we'll go back to BobCAD. got the eagle image right here, and I'm gonna click open. Now it opens the image into BobCAD, and it brings in a size for whatever the image size was to begin with. We're at 1.293 inches. I'm going to highlight that number. I'll change it to 6 inches wide in X and hit tab to update that. I can zoom in. I can see it's a little pixelated. We should be okay with this image. That's looking a little rough, but we'll take a look at it. If it is rough, we can do some modifying there of the drawing that it brings in. You can see 6 inches for my X size, 7.9 inches for my Y size. Now it updated that number for me automatically because we can keep the aspect ratio, meaning that it doesn't stretch an X or Y on us. But if I wanted to make it a little taller, let's say I wanted it 6 inches by 8 inches, I can turn off keep aspect ratio and type in 8 here. And you can see once I hit tab, it'll make it a little taller, but not any wider there. And then I click OK. And I don't see anything yet. I have to vectorize it to make the drawing from my image that was just imported. So I right click on image-eagle webinar here in the BobART tab. John, you're saying the audio is jumping up and down. Maybe it's clipping for you. I don't know. Let's see. Or maybe I have to get a little closer to my computer here. How about now? Is that any better? Might have to move the audio up there. How about now? Is that any better? Check, check, check. Let me know. Let me know if the audio is any better there. Just moved it up. That should be better. Let me know how the audio is for you guys. But we'll keep going. So I've got the image. I can make the drawing from it. I can make the drawing from it by right-clicking on Image, Eagle Webinar, and going to Vectorize, the second option down. Now you can see it's all spotty here, the little pixelated. So I can move the slider bar over on the left-hand side. You can see this threshold value. I move the slider bar over to the left. And the reason why I'm moving it over to the left, where it becomes a little more pixelated, or to the right, it becomes a little more pixelated. The reason for that, I normally describe it as if you have a more detailed image and you move it left or to the right, it will depend on if you're vectorizing the foreground or the background of the image. We don't have a background to this, so I'm going to go somewhere closer to the middle here to where it looks good enough, and then click OK. I can see the drawing in blue behind the image. I can right-click on Image-Eagle Webinar and go to Blank Unblank to blank out the image there, and I can see my drawing. Now you can see, as I mentioned, when I show the image again, it's pretty pixelated, so it wasn't a really clean image that I got offline, online, but I can modify this after the fact as well to clean it up. And so there's a good button hotkey on the keyboard for showing and hiding an image. I for image to show or hide it at any time. So I can show the image. Let's see what I'm working with. I go to the top and I go to utilities. And over on the right hand side we have drag corner and deform. The first one I'm going to select is deform here. I'm going to go here to where the nostril is for his beak and click on these arcs here and change the curvature of the arcs to make them more of a straight line here. Now I can see it jumps on me back and forth. You can see that it jumps on me back and forth here with the arc, so I can click on it. If I want to change how it's so choppy like that, I go down to the bottom right and I can click on Snap Increment. So turn that off. And I'm going to turn off all of the icons down at the bottom here for my XY tracking and for my snap increments. So I click on the arc and I can make those two more like lines there, maybe. Then I can hide the image and then click on the line to make it more of an arc, or click on the arc, make it more curved there. Here, let me reset the audio. You guys say I can't hear it. Sorry, 1 second there. Maybe that would help. I don't know. All right. So, I was saying it's too loud. All right. So, you guys saying the audio is not great. I'll speak up for you guys so you can hear me better. Try to speak up there. All right. So we click on each of these to modify the drawing. And then after everything is good, we can go and go through embossing. So we'll do emboss next. We'll go through all of the CAD side of things for BobART, and then we'll go through programming for VCarve and things like that. So I'm going to go to the BobART tab down at the bottom again. I'm going to right-click on Emboss Model, and I'm going to Edit Canvas, the second option down. Now it's going to ask me, okay, what do I want for my X size and my Y size for my stock that I'm starting with for creating an emboss of this drawing? I can type in, let's see, we're going to go 10 by, well, maybe a little bit smaller. We're going to go 6 by 8, just like we had with our drawing size. And base height of 1 inch. So when I click OK, it's got the thickness of 1 inch there. I'm going to go back to a top view. I'm going to go to right-click on Emboss Model again and go to Emboss Regular, the third option down. I'm going to select the profile first, just the profile of the eagle. And then we have Add over here, down at the left. Scroll down, we have Convex Arc, a concave arc, so it sweeps up like this. Line would be more like a tapered angle, for just like we had a tapered angle for an extrude boss. Convex concave ellipse, and spline. I'm going to go to spline. It's going to be more like the concave arc, where I can select 1, 2, and 3 points to change the curvature right here. And when I click OK, you'll see that curvature as in a side view of the profile that I selected. So I've got the profile of it. I'm going to select more of the geometry to remove some of the inside emboss. So over on the left-hand side in BobART, I'm going to go to, 1 second here. Okay. Let's try that so that you guys can hear the audio better. Can get closer to the computer there. All right, so we can right-click on geometry here in BobART. I can go to reselect. I can hide the emboss. There's a good hotkey for that as well. That's going to be E for emboss, I for image, and E for emboss to show or hide those things in BobART. I'm going to chain select the head. Let's change, so that included the beak and everything. Let's include a couple of these things for the feathers here, for the wing. And then I'll scroll down and click OK in BobART again for the emboss. Then when I see the emboss, it removed that area and it kept it flat. Now let's say I want to give those areas some depth. To do that, I can right-click on Emboss Model. I can go to Emboss Regular again. And I'm going to select just those areas I just selected there. So chain select this one. One second, it sounds like a bad wire connection. Let's try this here. It might be the audio on the computer here of my charging there. Let's see if I can. Sorry, one second. Okay, how about now? Okay, how about now? Let me know if you can hear the audio any better there. I've turned off some of the things there that may have had a problem. Sorry about that. Huh. That's so weird. I'm using the audio for the computer, but you guys saying it's choppy here and there. Saying okay moment now. Okay. So weird. Okay. Sorry about that. Maybe some kind of connection with my keyboard or mouse or something like that. That I don't know. Strange. All right. So we've got the selection here that I want to remove, cut into my stock there. So I'm going to go to up at the top here. Instead of add, I can subtract from the model. So if you wanted the negative of everything, I can just go to subtract. I'm just selecting this area to subtract from and click OK. So now when we see the emboss, it's removing that area. Maybe looking a little strange, so I'm going to delete that first. I'm going to delete that subtract that I just did. I'm going to change the add that I did for all of this, and I'm just going to subtract all of that. So I'm going to scroll up and I'm going to click subtract. And then click OK, and we've got the negative of what we had there. So I'm going to leave this area flat, and then I'm just going to mill into the wing and the head and body of the eagle there. So if you guys have any questions, I know that you said that there wasn't sound for a while. So if you guys have any questions with what we've been going through, if you guys have had any questions that we've been going through, if there was any audio that was choppy in and out, please let me know any questions that you guys may have had with the audio there. All right. So next we're going to go through, so we went through vectorize, we went through emboss, and now we're going to go through how that relates to the CAM side of things. BobART also includes VCarve, so we can take a look at VCarve as well. Now, I'm going to go back to my drawing. So I'm going to blank out the emboss here. I'm going to look at it from a top view. And let's do a VCarve of this from our drawing here. So I'm going to go to the top and go to CAM. I'm going to go to a new job. And we'll go through the VCarve software, and then I'll go through another vectorize and another emboss for you guys. So with that, I'm going to go to the machine. It's just going to be a BobCAD 3-axis mill. Go to my stock wizard. And I can skip the workpiece page. It's going to ask me for my stock. We'll go with 6 inches by 8 inches and 1 inch thick for the stock thickness there. And my last page is my work offset. I'm going to leave it at the bottom left corner here of my stock. I'm going to scroll down and click OK. Then I'm going to right click on Machine Setup 1, and I'm going to go to Mill VCarve. That's the last mill operation down at the bottom here. I'm going to select my geometry. So I'm going to select the outside profile, and I'm going to select the head and these areas of the wing here. Should be able to fit something down in there, and click OK. Should be able to fit my tool in that area, at least with a V tool. Total depth. So total depth, I'm going to go to, let's say, 1/4 of an inch. Next page, we can go to, when I click on V-carve, it just has a finishing operation here. I could do a tapered pocketing operation first, so I'm going to add that in. Move that up to the top here. Next, so we have a pocketing and a finishing operation. Next page, set my work offset number. Next page, set my tool. And some of these areas might not be able to fit an end mill into these areas here for the wing. So let's do a 1/4 inch flat end mill. Next page, set our depth of cut. Set our step over, 25% of the tool. Next page, advanced posting options, MDI. We're going to set up the V tool. We could just do the 1/2 inch 90-degree tool. And then our depth of cut, step over amounts, and then MDI page. And then we'll hit compute. So here's the tool path, stepping over for roughing it out, and then using a V tool to mill in the rest of that area there. Let's see. So we're going to, we can simulate from there. So I'm going to hit run, and we can run through it here. So first it'll pocket it out just like a 2-axis pocket there. And then after the 2-axis pocket, it's going to run through with a V-carve operation with a V tool and give us the tapering around for that eagle shape. So BobART includes the V tool, the V-carve operation like we saw here. It also includes the vectorization here and the emboss. So as you guys said, if you weren't able to hear the sound earlier, I apologize for that. Got some technical difficulties there. So we'll go through the vectorization of this and the emboss again. And then we'll go through another emboss that can be really cool to see, emboss from image. We'll go through that today as well. So I'm going to go to a new file. As I mentioned, we imported the image just by Googling for images there and saving an image there. So in a new file, I'm going to go to BobART. And in images, I'm going to right-click on images, go to load image. I'm going to select Eagle webinar file. Brings in the image like this. I can type in the size. I made it 6 inches by 8 inches here. And then I click OK. Then on the left-hand side under BobART, I'm going to right-click. Oops. Let's see. Can you guys hear me again? Looks like on my side the audio. Can't tell if the audio is going in and out yet. Let me know in the comment section. Let me know if you guys can hear me better. Okay, so with the image, I'm going to right-click on Image Eagle Webinar and go to Vectorize. And I'm going to move the slider bar until I have the best image, cleanest one there, and click OK. Then I can blank out the image by right-clicking on Image Eagle Webinar and going to blank. Now I can modify the drawing after the fact. If I want to go to Utilities and go to Drag Corner and Deform. So Deform, I can click on a line or an arc and change the curvature of it here. You can see it's a little choppy. So when I click on it, and if it's choppy like this, I normally turn off the snap increment down at the bottom, turn off XY tracking so there's no references to snap to. So I can have more like a freeform tool to deform and to go to the top, go to drag corner. and click on a corner to drag the corner out like this if I want like a sharp beak like that. Cool. Then we can go through the emboss function for a drawing like this. I go back to BobART. I go to, go to emboss model. I'm going to right click and go to edit canvas, the second option down. So first it asks me for a canvas, which is like starting from a stock that I'm starting with. So I'm going to type in 6 inches by 8 inches here for X and Y. And I'm going to leave the base height at 1 inch for the thickness of the stock. And I'll click OK. So here is my canvas. So here is my canvas for the emboss. And from there, I'm going to right click on emboss model and go to emboss regular. I'm going to select the outside profile. So just chain select, hold shift and click for the profile. And the rest of the wing here. And the head. And I'm going to emboss it out like this and click OK. Now this is adding to the stock. So from 1 inch, it's going even further up. If I want it down into the stock, then I would right click on the regular emboss right here and edit. And up at the top, I can change it from add to subtract. And then click OK. So then I could rough this out with like a 3-axis roughing and a planer toolpath or anything like that. All right, I'm going to hit pause for 1 second. I'm going to mess with the audio for a second. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. Okay. All right, let's see how the audio is. That looks good. Okay, so I don't know, maybe it was my HDMI cord. All right, so we'll pick up where we left off. So we did the vectorize and we did the emboss. And there's another cool one in here for emboss from image. So I can emboss it directly from an image. I'm going to go to a new file. And I'm going to right click on emboss model and go to edit canvas. So it always asks me for a stock size in here by default. So I'm going to type in, let's go 12 by 12 for my stock size in X and Y and a thickness of 1 inch and click OK. Then I'm going to emboss from image. So I right click on emboss model and go to emboss from image and then click on load image here in the data entry window. Let's see, do I have any image? Here's an image of a dog that I can emboss from. So if you've got, a pet like this or a family photo or anything, you can import an image like this and click open with emboss from image. I can type in the Z depth right here of 100 thousandths. So from the image, all the colors, it's going to emboss out 100 thousandths when I click OK. So when I rotate it around, you can see the emboss from the image like that. And maybe let's make the stock the same size as the image here. So it's about 5.6 by 8.5. So I'll change the stock size. If I right click and go to edit canvas, we'll go 7 by 9 and click OK. It's more like 6 by 9. Let's do that. So I'll right click on emboss model, edit canvas, and we'll go 6 by 9 and click OK. And so from here, once it regenerates, I can go to a 3-axis milling operation. So I'm going to right click on, I'm going to go to CAM and go to a new job. Under the BC3X mill, go to my stock wizard. I can select this as my workpiece. Then the next page I can define my stock. And then my next page I can define my work offset by clicking on origin and clicking on top of the stock here. I'm going to right click on machine setup 1 and go to mill 3 axis. I'm going to select my geometry as the art model here. You can see it classifies it as art model from BobART, and click OK. Next page, top of feature. Next page, machining strategy. I'm going to select advanced planer. I'm going to go down and use a 1/2 inch ball end mill. Actually, let's do a 1/4 inch ball end mill. Next page, we can set our lace angle direction 90 degrees. We'll go up and down along the y-axis. Next page, set my step over. Let's go 20 thousandths. And then, set a lead in, lead out, and all those other settings, and I'll hit compute. So you can see that the toolpath runs right along an emboss from BobART. So an emboss from image like this for a family photo could be really cool. And do a planar operation right along the emboss like this. You could do the same thing for the emboss that we saw earlier with the eagle, that we could vectorize an image into a drawing in 2D, create an emboss in 3D, and do a 3-axis milling operation like this. So that's what we have to go over today, just going through BobART. There's not a whole lot to it, but it can be a really useful tool to be able to create a drawing from an image, to be able to emboss from a drawing, and to be able to emboss from an image directly like this. So you've got a whole lot of like a complex image like this that you take a picture of and be able to do a 3-axis toolpath, run right along the emboss from there. So yeah, that's what we have to go over today in BobART. Vectorize, emboss, and emboss from image like this. We also saw V-carve earlier to be able to pocket and use a V-tool to follow along for a V-carve toolpath. I want to thank you guys for bearing with me with the audio there. I know that I apologize for the technical difficulties there, but if you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments section. I'm more than happy to help with any questions you may have had that we went over with vectorize in BobART, in the emboss function here, emboss from image, and then create a toolpath for the emboss from image like this. Let's make it look a little nicer by making a smaller tool and a smaller step over here. So run through it one more time with the 1/8 inch ball end mill at 10,000 step over. And what I normally mention with the planar toolpath, we could do 90 degrees like this first. And then we could do another one going 45 degrees maybe. So we could go diagonal across it and get a really good surface finish with a ball end mill to do something like this for an emboss from image. The simulation still has to update after this, and we'll see how clean of a toolpath we've got, or clean of a stock model we've got there. Yeah, so what I would do, you can see just going back and forth 90 degrees will give you this clean of a toolpath, and then you would have to go back in, either go with 0 degrees or 45 with a second planar toolpath, and get an even cleaner emboss from what we had there. But it's coming along nicely with that. But yeah, I want to thank everyone for viewing the live event today. We went through BobART to vectorize an image like the eagle that we had on our screen here. This one here. The vectorize and emboss. We had V-carve to be able to carve into the areas with a pocket, with a flat end mill, and a V-carve V-tool. So that's more like a 3-axis toolpath with that one. And then we also went through the 3-axis planar toolpath after doing an emboss from image for the dog. I'm going to sit back for a few minutes and see if you guys have any questions. But again, I want to thank everybody for viewing the live event today.